Hey everybody, it's Kathy Boyle, president of Chapin Hill Advisors. Today we're introducing another member of our Circle of Influence. We've designed our Circle of Influence to allow you to find experts whom you can trust. It's very difficult finding an expert who will do the job right the first time. Very often when you need someone, you're in a crunch, a little bit of a time crunch, and you reach out to either a colleague, a workmate, a family friend, and you get a referral, somebody they used. That person may or may not be right for you. So making a mistake with an expert, whether it's a handyman or a CPA, is very expensive in terms of time and money. I don't know anyone who has either to waste. So let's get it right from the get-go. So you can trust our experts to deliver. They've been vetted out. They are either referred by other members who know them well, have used them, know that they will deliver with professionalism, empathy, and do the job right the first time. So today we're introducing Nancy Robillard, who is a presentation coach, and she has a fascinating background starting in theater in New York City. So Nancy, let's start there. Your background in working with playwrights, New York, how exciting. What was that like?
Well, my two greatest loves have always been the written word and live performance. So that led me to a career as a director, working mostly on new plays because I love working with the writer to realize their vision every bit as much as I love working with actors to get them ready for a performance. So when it came to public speaking coaching, it happened very seamlessly. A writer that I know needed to do her first keynote, and she said, "Can you coach me?" And I already had taught public speaking at a university. And so I said, sure. And one thing led to another. She started referring me to other writers, and I launched the business.
That's fabulous. So let's talk about presentations. When people present, what are the top 3 or 4 mistakes most people make?
Oh, I love that question. Number one for me is letting fear be their master. Number two is lack of preparation. And three is feeling like you need to fill the space with sound every second, never taking a breath or a pause. So when it comes to fear, I'm going to paraphrase Mark Twain here. Courage is resistance to fear, the mastery of fear, not the lack of fear. So my thought about that is it's okay to be afraid. Do it anyway. And that also leads a little bit into a related item, which is performance anxiety. People think that it can't be controlled, it can't be managed, but there are ways you can manage it and control it because sometimes it hits you by surprise. Sometimes you get jitters before a performance, but sometimes it can happen right in the middle and you need to know how to manage it, but it can be done. So lack of preparation, I could talk all day about this, but some people really think they can wing it when it comes to presenting, public speaking. So sometimes they don't prepare their material properly and or they don't rehearse it. And I feel it's very important to rehearse out loud the way you're going to do it. You need to get those words in your muscle memory. And that way, those words are going to sound and feel natural coming out of your mouth. Plus, if you haven't rehearsed it, how long do you think it is? You want to make sure you don't go overtime. And especially now with so many presentations being virtual, keep it short.
So
And
true.
yes, and the third mistake I mentioned is feeling that you need to fill the space with sound every single second, meaning you can't take a pause or a breath. And pausing is very important. Sometimes the audience needs to hear those words ring in the air. And also, it can lead to things like talking too fast. You feel like you just have to be making sound the whole time. You're going to talk too fast and or using filler words like um, uh. Last week, I watched a webinar on a topic I was really interested in, and the presenter was very knowledgeable, but he said so many times, so often, I actually got distracted and I lost the thread of the content. So those are my top three. There are more, but those are my top three.
Right. And I think those are very, very good. I know that I probably would not have done as well as I've done on TV and in a live performance if I hadn't bumped into somebody who did neuro-linguistic programming and gave me a few techniques to calm myself down whenever I picked up the phone to make a new call or get in front of an audience. And practicing in front of a mirror, people think you're crazy, but honestly, just talking it out and using your eye contact and rehearsing over and over. So you're absolutely right to make it sound authentic. And somebody like me, I talk very fast naturally. So it's very hard for me to slow down. If I get anxious or nervous, or I'm looking at the clock, or I think I'm losing the audience, tend to speed up. So I think those are really very valid top points. So now let's talk about the delivery. Let's talk about the method. We're in a virtual world now because of the pandemic that we went through. How much of your coaching is live, in person, one-on-one versus virtual?
Right now, it's all virtual, and I'm looking forward to that changing. As people begin to do more in-person presentations, I'll need to work with them in person, because if it's a one-on-one coaching, it really actually lends itself to virtual coaching. But if somebody's going to be getting up on stage or in front of people, I need to see their whole body and work on their body language. One silver lining, actually, though, to the virtual coaching is that people who come to me for public speaking coaching are vulnerable. And if their bosses sent them to me, they're really vulnerable. So it's nice for them to be in their own space where they feel safe.
Got it. So one of the mistakes, I see a lot of Wall Street guys coming out of that industry, and I've moderated tons of panels, and their presentations are so boring, laden with words. You can barely pay attention, and you've got a very knowledgeable speaker, as you said earlier, but they're up there just droning on, and there's just tons of words. So do you help people with the actual content and what it looks like and how long it is?
Yes, absolutely. That's almost always part of it, because everybody needs some help in that area. And I love examining structure and tying structure to meaning. In fact, last summer, a general manager that I'd worked for, I had coached his sales team, brought me in just to consult on reimagining his sales deck, his sales presentation. He wanted to reinvent it, rethink it. And so we worked a lot on particular slides. There's too much text here. And we worked with the salespeople who did a dry run of presenting the slides, and I helped him to structure that and edit it. So that's something I really enjoy doing.
All right, so that's great. So you work with a wide variety of people to help them with their actual body language, their eye contact, their cadence, how many words, how thoughts, how to get it across, as well as the content. So what might this take form? 1 time, 5 times, 6-month contract? What does it look like in terms of coaching?
It varies. So for example, when I was coaching that one particular team of salespeople, I started out with a 1-day group coaching, and then I worked with the individual salespeople for 4 months. There was a person who came to me last week who wanted only coaching on virtual presence, and we did 1 session. That's all she needed. I'm also working with someone right now who wants to not only improve her performance skills, but also she wants to transform how she shows up at work and how she presents herself day to day. So we're working together for 6 months. So it really depends. It depends on the client. It depends on what they need.
Got it. Okay, so that's great. It's flexible. And then how about timing? I imagine people should not come to the day before they're giving a large presentation.
I think 2 days is the shortest amount of time anyone came to me, but I think optimally it should be at least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks, because you need, as we work on the structure, ideas percolate, and you need time. You need time in between to let ideas percolate and to figure out how to make it better. And then, of course, to get used to the performance skills and learning how to do that.
Right, and have some time to practice. I do find that I walk in the woods with my dogs, and that's where sometimes I'll do speeches out loud. And sometimes thoughts will come, even a presentation I've done over and over and over again. I might all of a sudden find a more creative way of putting something out there, or a new thought, something that just happened. And there's always a fresh approach, I think. So people can find you in New York City, work with people all over the country, I assume.
Yes, I do. Yes, all time zones.
And then where would we find you?
At my website, which is www.nancyrobillard.com, and they can email me at info@nancyrobillard.com.
Terrific. And your last name is spelled Robillard.
That's right.
Terrific. We're delighted to have you as a member of our Circle of Influence.
Thank you so much.